a debate stage in front of 70 million Americans and refused to condemn white supremacists.
Not true.
And
not true.
It wasn't like he didn't have a chance. He didn't do it, and then he doubled down. And then he said, when pressed, stand back, stand by. And this is a part of a pattern of Donald Trump's. He called Mexicans rapists and criminals. He instituted as his first act a Muslim ban. He, on the issue of Charlottesville, where people were peacefully protesting.
Hold on. They restarted our stream again. Just too much truth, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to rewind this to the beginning while the...
Too much
Just
truth.
too much truth.
You know what I mean?
I haven't got the notification on Facebook yet, but I'm just going to hit play as people rejoin us here.
All right.
Because we should still be streaming.
We are talking about an election in 27 days, where last week the President of the United States took a debate stage in front of 70 million Americans and refused to condemn white supremacists.
Not true.
And
not true.
It wasn't like he didn't have a chance. He didn't do it, and then he doubled down. And then he said, when pressed, stand back, stand by. And this is a part of a pattern of Donald Trump's. He called Mexicans rapists and criminals. He instituted as his first act a Muslim ban. He, on the issue of Charlottesville, where people were peacefully protesting the need for racial justice, where a young woman was killed. And on the other side, there were neo-Nazis carrying tiki torches, shouting racial epithets, anti-Semitic slurs. And Donald Trump, when asked about it, said there were fine people on both sides. This is who we have as the President of the United States. And America, you deserve better. Joe Biden will be a president who brings our country together.
Senator Harris.
And recognizes the beauty in our diversity and the fact that we all have so much more in common than what separates us.
Vice President Pence, let me give you a minute to respond.
Thank you, Susan. I appreciate that very much. You know, I think this is one of the things that makes people dislike the media so much in this country, Susan, is that you selectively edit, just like Senator Harris did, comments that President Trump and I and others on our side of the aisle make. I mean, Senator Harris conveniently omitted, after the president made comments about people on either side of the debate over monuments, he condemned the KKK, neo-Nazis, and white supremacists, and has done so repeatedly. You're concerned that he doesn't condemn neo-Nazis. President Trump has Jewish grandchildren. His daughter and son-in-law are Jewish. This is a president who respects and cherishes all of the American people. But you talk about having personally prosecuted. I'm glad you brought up your record, Senator.
Thank you.
I really need to make this point. When you were DA in San Francisco, when you left office, African Americans were 19 times more likely to be prosecuted for minor drug offenses than whites and Hispanics. When you were Attorney General of California, you increased the disproportionate incarceration of blacks in California. You did nothing on criminal justice reform in California. You didn't lift a finger to pass the First Step Act on Capitol Hill. I mean, the reality is your record speaks for itself. President Trump and I have fought for criminal justice reform.
Thank you, Vice President.
We fought for educational choice and opportunities for African Americans, all of our
Thank you, sir.
And we'll do it for 4 months.
Thank you.
Hey, NB.
Okay, hold on. I got to jump in here, Grant. And then for some reason, Kamala Harris is so brain dead dumb. Right after that, she had a preloaded response. She had obviously trained for this attack. And the first thing out of her mouth is, what I did in California is what we should do all across the country. Right after Pence, the only thing he mentioned she did in California was disproportionately lock up African Americans compared to other groups. Not that I believe in putting people in groups, but that was the dumbest. I wish we had the video clip.
I know.
She immediately said, we need to do this all over America. Right after Pence said, you're locking up black people more than any other person or any other kind of person. It was the most tone-deaf, brain-dead, dumbest thing I've ever seen as a retort in a debate ever. Ever. And like, you know what? Maybe she means it.
Well,
Maybe she was sincere. Maybe what she means, because I've heard her say similar things. I've heard Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton call African Americans super predators. I've heard them do it. They were the party that passed the 92 crime bill. As Vice President Pence said, she didn't lift a finger to help with the First Step Act. Maybe she literally means what she did in California would be the best thing for the country. Maybe that's exactly what she meant to say. And that should give everyone pause. Especially if you're like on the fence. Not that I think anyone in this stream is on the fence. But you get what I'm saying. I think that probably left a bad taste in people's mouth if they were able to remember what happened 30 seconds before she started speaking.
And she actually went out of her way to come back to that question. So you heard the moderator at the end interrupting Mike Pence because Mike Pence had went over his time. Sorry, Vice President Pence had went over his time. And he was trying to get that last point in there of like, okay, you want to talk about criminal justice reform. You want to talk about your record as a prosecutor. And you even heard her say when Mike Pence said, let's talk about your record as a prosecutor. She said, thank you. Like, okay, it's going to be something, this is going to be a shining moment for me. Thank you. I worked hard as a prosecutor, right? So he pushed this. The moderator was trying to interrupt Pence because that was a point in the debate where she was trying to change topics. She didn't want to continue on this anymore. So when she changed topics, she asked Kamala Harris an entirely unrelated question, totally different question. And Harris went out of her way to use some of that allotted time to respond back to what Pence has said and responded with the canned answer that Shine just went through. Saying like, I'm proud of my record as a prosecutor. I think what I did as a prosecutor should be used as a model across the rest of the United States. I just don't, did you not listen to what he just said? Because he claimed that your model was disproportionately affecting a very large percentage of your voter base and a very large percentage of people that you've been trying to reach out to and have been marching the streets for, I don't know, the last 4 or 5 months. It just doesn't seem to jive or mesh up.
I don't think
here,
what
you know?
you said is what you meant to say.
Yeah, I don't think you know. I don't think you know the definition of those words. You keep saying that word. I don't think you know what it means. You know what I mean?
Hey, Grant, did you see that article that I texted you on your personal phone?
Yeah, I did.
I think we should go. Jonathan Kortner, a great real newser, posted that in the comments, and I think it's worth going over real quick as we end the show. Real quick. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
I'll throw it up on the screen for everybody. Let me see. Let me turn off the chat here so you can see it. Undecided voters found Harris abrasive, condescending in vice presidential debate. I think it's clear that Mike Pence was the winner from tonight's confrontation. This is the same guy who didn't have a lot of nice things to say about Donald Trump. Frank Luntz. He didn't have a lot of nice things to say about Joe Biden either, but I'm saying just don't think just because it's Fox News that this was a guaranteed article to be written today, I guess is what I'm saying. But voters found Democratic vice presidential nominee Kamala Harris to be abusive and condescending at various points throughout Wednesday's debate with Vice President Mike Pence. Pollster Frank Luntz told Fox News. The complaint about Kamala, and this is a direct quote from Frank Luntz, the complaint about Kamala Harris was that she was abrasive and condescending, who monitored 15 reactions. Let's see here. The complaint about Mike Pence was that he was a little too tired, but he was vice presidential or presidential, added Luntz, who went on to say that if this is a battle over style and substance, which is often the case with undecided voters, because they simply do not choose on policy, they also choose on persona, this was Mike Pence's night. Luntz clarified that it was not that Pence did so well, it's that they, the voters, felt both candidates were not answering questions as well as they would have liked. Despite this, voters seemed to appreciate that both of the two nominees were significantly more cordial to each other. And I will say that they did make an effort to, at least, I really feel like Pence made an effort to be conciliatory and praise Kamala Harris on multiple occasions in her experience. So I think that's true. They did really not like the ducking of questions, Luntz explained.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah.
But they were happier.
On both sides. I'll be fair about that.
But, you know, some of the more obvious ones were the Supreme Court question and other things like that.
Yeah.
I think that's most of the good stuff I wanted to throw in here. Voters do not like it when candidates run long. Both candidates did that. But according to at least that panel of 15 undecided voters, they thought Pence was the winner. And I don't know if you watched Fox News. I think the people on Fox News after the first presidential debate, the majority of people said that they just didn't want to vote.
Yeah.
So it's not guaranteed that just because it's Fox News, everyone's going to like the Republican.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. I think Frank Luntz is one of the more respected reaction pollers in the biz. That's why Fox News has him. It's not because he's willing to say whatever they want him to say. It's because he's the best at that kind of polling.
Well, and I want to focus too on as we go out here, Jessica's comment just a second ago. She said, "Stop. My kid is half black. I'm going to cry. I'll run away to Mexico if she gets in and does that." Honestly, she's referencing that clip we were playing, talking about Kamala Harris and Pence's response when saying that her prosecutorial record is something that would disproportionately affect marginalized minority communities, meaning that the laws that she chose to prosecute harshly as a zealot prosecutor, I would suppose, disproportionately affected a certain community over others. And I don't presume to know where Jessica's going to vote. I think based upon some of her Facebook posts before, she's thinking about voting for Joe Jorgensen. Don't let me put those words in your mouth, Jessica. I just see a lot of support for the Libertarian Party is all. But when we talk about some of these things that sort of get flippantly glossed over, when Kamala Harris might not take that as seriously as others, when it might be a stain on her record. I mean, just as a PR consulting goes, and I even get this from my brother, when we were talking about this, when Kamala Harris was like the day she was announced as VP, the day she was announced, my family has this whole text chain. It's a fascinating text chain. At some point in my future, I think if I get clearance from all the family members, I might release portions of it because it's just it's all of us. Wives included now at this point. Husbands included, brother-in-laws, they're all on there, right? And we just go back and forth about politics. We post funny memes and everything else. And my parents are super into politics. My brother's super into politics. He's on the other side of the political spectrum. His wife is kind of middle road. But my brother on that day that Kamala Harris was elected said, look, I was making the same point that everybody else is making, that as far as an electable position goes, when you have people marching out at the streets against police brutality and prosecuting possibly too much, Kamala Harris is not your person. Joe Biden wrote the bill. He is not this is not your ticket to appeal to that crowd. My brother very rightly said, well, yeah, not now, but they have a few months to correct that course. They have a few months to make up for the sins of the past. They have a few months to do something different. They have a few months to admit to the mistakes of the past and change it going forward. And granted, rightfully so, that would have been the better tack to take. I think that would have been the more appropriate solution to go forward. Kamala Harris could have said,
The Democrat Party doesn't admit mistakes in 2020. They couldn't even admit that they lost the election in 2016, let alone that they've made mistakes.
Exactly.
Like passing the 92 crime bill.
But that's the thing, though, Shine, is like this isn't going to work. This idea of just pretending that that's not who she was in her past, nobody's buying that. Nobody's buying that. And unless someone in that party drops a little bit of pride or they start hiring consultants that coach them to do that, look, what we need is sincerity, party, right? We need genuine appeal. We need vulnerability, a little bit of it. We need y'all to be able to say it's okay that you got something wrong in the past if you genuinely believe you got something wrong in the past and start moving forward. Because otherwise, no one's going to take you seriously. Or at least the people that are actually trying to make a qualified decision aren't going to take you seriously. Because Jessica sees this and she sees right through it. Saying like, look, man, this is going to personally affect me right where I'm at. My child is half black. What am I going to do if she gets in here? You think they're going to change course in what they've developed their entire career on? Was there like 60, 70 something years worth of experience, political experience between these two people? Biden's been in there for 40 something years, 47 years, I believe, something like that. It's not going to change on a dime right now. Hey, we got to end the show today. There's like 3 shows out there right now because they just don't, Facebook, I guess, doesn't like us speaking the truth that we do here every single day on Real News. But we love y'all, each and every one of y'all, sincerely. You ever need anything at all, reach out to us. We're always there for you. Yeah, and if you're in the Nashville area, for some reason, man, if you want to stop by, if you're in the Nashville area, if you want to stop by, do these grassroots training sessions with us tonight. You see those things linked all over. The information's out there with a digital flyer. We're meeting at this hotel conference room tonight. Going to be good times, family building, relationship building, training up grassroots activist style, hitting the ground running for the Nashville Taxpayer Protection Act come November. Love y'all for real. See y'all next time.